Welcome, dancers, to our 45th episode here on Plié For The People. I just wanted to begin our class by telling you that I got a special gift from a dear friend of mine who made this wonderful long sleeve for me. And as you saw the intro, we have the Plié For The People logo officially tattooed on my back here on the shirt, and also in the front. We have this lovely logo in the front for Plié For The People represent. I'm so happy that you found us today here on Plié For The People, and without any further ado, we're going to dive into our agenda. This episode is very special because it's an online beginner student level, and we're going to get started with a lecture portion of our class today, followed by a practical section where we will be applying some of the knowledge during our lecture. You guessed it, as the title indicates, it's my 4 additional pet peeves in ballet technique. So we're going to check that out. Afterwards, we're going to dive into our ballet class. Let's get started right away.
Hi dancers, I'm here, and we're going to go over 4 more additional pet peeves of mine during ballet technique. Let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome to our second lecture portion for this episode on Plié For The People, which we will be discussing 4 more pet peeves in ballet technique that is conducted commonly by beginner dancers. Let's go. Our first pet peeve to go over today is your pelvis misalignment. As you can see in these 3 photos, our first picture, or A, it's the neutral pelvis, or the ideal way that you want to stand with your pelvis in ballet class, in which the pelvis is squared and it's also just neutrally placed. And you can tell that this is slight arch. Let me start my annotation for clarification. You can see that there's this slightest sway back here, which is your natural curve between your lumbar to your hips and pelvis area. This is a beautifully placed pelvis position. In picture B, you have a dancer that is anteriorly tilting her pelvis, aka sway back. So she's putting her pelvis behind her center of alignment, and it's really exaggerated, where you can even see her torso is on a diagonal now. You know, it's no longer straight up and down like this. It's going this way now. It's almost like a paralleling action going on, which is not where you want to place your pelvis, because when that pelvis is out of whack, then your dancing will also follow. And then in picture C, we have a dancer. It's really hard to tell, especially for the novice dancer, because it almost looks like it's straight from here, right? However, this part is going a little bit inwards, and then, you know, it's the curvature of her natural spine here. But what's happening here is that this dancer is posteriorly tilting her pelvis backwards, aka this is called tucking, right? Tucking in ballet, okay? So you don't want to have any tucking action happening either. Sorry, writing is a little bit hard with this pen tool here. And then this one here, it's sway back. S-W-A-Y, sway back, okay? And then this is tucking underneath, all right? So going back to the whole fishbowl idea, this dancer is pitching the water forward, right? Let me maybe switch a different color so that you can see water coming out. And then when this dancer is standing in a tucking position, the water is going back, right? So you don't want to spill that bowl of water God forbid, letting that fish come out of the bowl even, right? So this is our first pet peeve. Moving on to the second pet peeve, which we have losing your turnout during the middle of the dance. So this dancer in the first picture, as you can tell, she is performing a tendu to the back. Perhaps she just finished doing a rond de jambe, and she's, there's a hint for me, which is her hand is on her hip. So she's trying to square off her hips, and maybe she was just making sure that her leg is turned out here. As you can tell, the knee is tracking over the ankle, and then the toe is pretty much straight. I mean, she can do a little bit of winging action here, a little bit more, so that this line can even be a little bit more straight, but that's all right. Overall, she's really making the effort of keeping that knee straight, keeping that turnout to the side, and this is a nice turnout here in the standing leg as well. So she's really utilizing both her gesturing leg, which is this leg here, and then also her standing leg to the max of her turnout. However, in this photo, you can see how her knee is facing the floor or facing her front, followed by her toes, and everything is facing this way, right? Versus ideally, if this dancer is doing a tendu to the back and then we're standing here facing, her profile, you want to see her kneecap here, right? You want to see the vamp of her shoe here. However, it's not. It's happening facing, again, the other direction. So you can tell that this dancer somehow lost her turnout midway through her dancing. So you want to be careful of that, and you always want to keep your from the top of the hip rotating externally towards to the side, and not just leaving that hip locked in and losing that turnout and creating this line. Alrighty, let's move on to our third pet peeve, which is connected to the previous idea of losing turnout, is to not square off. As you can see, this bird eye view version of this dancer performing a split on the floor. As we can see that in this photo, the green check mark means it's the correct version of it, how her hips are very squared, and the red X is the incorrect or non-squared version of her splits. Ideally, you want to maintain a squared hip so that not only that you can maximize your practice, because it's actually harder to square off your hips versus just to keep them open, keep them loose, keep them whatever. So you want to keep them squared off so that you can have more control with your balance, with your center of alignment. So this is a very happy dancer. I'm going to draw a smiley face here for doing the right thing. And then over here, again, she's not squaring off. She's going this way. As you can see, that's how her hips are aligned, which is it's in a diagonal direction. So this dancer, in order to get to the green check dancer, she needs to put her right hip forward more while maintaining the same place in her left hip. Her left hip's here. And then her right hip, ideally, you want to push it forward so that it aligns like so, right? Her hip bone. Okay, so that's not really happening, and that's the reason why this dancer is struggling in her splits. And I can tell the reason why she's doing that is because she's probably still trying to get her maximum splits onto the floor. So, but eventually, with more practice and gaining more flexibility, this dancer should be able to square off her hips beautifully, like this dancer here. Again, same thing with rond de jambes. With your hips, you want to keep them very squared on, like two pairs of headlights. I talk about that analogy a lot in many of my videos. So look out for that later on today. Moving on to our final pet peeve of the day, we have unnecessary tension in your toes or your fingers. So there's a lot of dancers, especially new dancers or dancers that are a little bit more inexperienced with performing and just experience taking classes. There's this idea of the economy of effort, where a more sophisticated dancer would just know where to put all the energy and effort to, and where to relax and be less tense. So we have two different situations happening in our bodies where we would store a lot of the unnecessary tension. And for a dance teacher like me, it's very obvious for me to read their body language when they are tense. That just means that this dancer is uncomfortable, a little not sure of himself regarding her or his technique, or just nervous about, maybe looking bad in front of others, or, I mean, a whole bunch of reasons why it would happen. But it's just important that we talk about the importance of mindfulness during our practice. Ballet is just ballet, it's not do or die moment, right? So you don't have to put so much tension like this dancer here where the toes are even clenching. I mean, it's, you don't ever want to have this situation happening, right? So the latter picture here is the correct version, obviously, where the toes are just relaxed on the floor, it's spread out, there's room, there's air, there's relaxation happening at the same time. So just be mindful of where you're storing your energy and your tension throughout your body during dancing. And this is also the clenching toes. This is also not very helpful because you're not going to stay on your feet, and you will definitely develop maybe plantar fasciitis or some kind of foot injury down there if you continue to dance like so. Same thing with your fingers and your arms and your neck. As you can tell that this dancer, the neck is very tense. The arms are pretty tense as well. The fingers are, overall, I mean, I can tell that this is by the way, I think this is Skylar Brandt, who's a principal dancer of ABT now. I feel like she's doing a great job at almost faking how to tense herself because, this is her normal self, I guess. But you see more exaggerated versions of dancers that are very tense with storing their energy and nervousness and anxiety somewhere in the body, and some are even like just clenching at the lips even. I mean, all sorts of different variations. But just remember, dancers, try to just relax. It's just ballet, all right? And you wanna live over here instead of over here. All right, enough said. Okay, we're gonna take a quick moment to assess how we're doing so far during our lecture portion today. Question number 1: what's wrong in these pictures? Let's take a look. You have a dancer who is, the curvature of her back is pretty pronounced, right? And it's definitely going on a diagonal versus straight, right? So what do you think that's happening there? Same thing over here. You see, it's a little bit harder to see, but there's a slight hip action going out where her aka derriere is sticking out in her pliés. Okay, maybe she is tracking her knees over her toes. Okay, that's good. But what is happening here, right? And then also this dancer here, it's a little hard to tell, but I think her back is kind of going inwards. Yeah, so it's the opposite of this one here. So what do you think is happening? A, unnecessary tension in the toes or fingers. Can't really tell in this picture. And not really. I think she's pretty relaxed here, so it's not A. Let's get rid of that. Pelvis misalignment. stop right there because that is our answer, B. This is a anterior pelvic tail where she is spilling her fishbowl forward. Same thing here, aka sway back. The booty is sticking out and her water is spilling out this way. And then the opposite is happening with our third dancer here in a ponytail where her pelvis is going a little bit forward, aka tucking. Okay, so these three pictures are definitely pelvis misalignment. Let's move on to our next quiz question. What is the teacher trying to fix in her student? Clearly the teacher is indicating the student here, this girl, and she is fixing her pelvis area. Okay, so that's giving us some hint. A, unnecessary tension in the toes or fingers. We don't see that. B, pelvis misalignment. Actually, her pelvis looks pretty straight to me and she's not doing any sway backs. I think she's pretty straight on with her pelvis. So let's see what else. What are the other options? Let's not get rid of that yet. Losing turnout. Well, she's very turnout. Check out her maximum turnout. This is beautiful turnout. Same with this young boy here. Very great turnout. Pretty good. Maximum turnout is achieved, so that's not it. Not squaring off. This is it. Remember our splits idea? It's the same idea. And this is probably when she was doing a tendu to the back or even a rond de jambe carrying to the back and her pelvis is opening. That's why her teacher is trying to press it forward for her. So therefore it is the evidence. It's clear. We found it. All right, moving on to our next question. Okay, now we can move forward. Question 3 is, what's wrong in these pictures? Or what do you think the teacher in the middle is correcting? All right, let's take a look. There's a lot going on here, right? There's a lot going on. The teacher in the middle, let's just take a look right now. She is trying to keep this dancer in her point shoes, keeping the foot and the heel forward, right? And sort of giving her a tactile correction behind her knees so that she can wrap up her thighs forward so that we can see this beautiful flat thigh facing us. Okay, that's what she's trying to do. In this picture here, I think we see some tense fingers, yeah. But what's really happening down here is that this dancer is she's on point. However, I think her knees are facing forward instead of facing us, right? So, and then also her arch and her feet, the vamp of her shoe and everything is also facing forward, is not facing us, even though we're standing here profile. And ideally, we should see her vamp and her knees. So that's not quite turned out. I think that's what's happening. Same thing here. We have a ballerina that's standing in parallel. And then also her knee is facing us and then her toe is facing us, but her body is squared on. She's not in profile. What is happening here? Same thing with this dancer here as well. I don't see a turn out position from the top of the hips. I see a parallel leg. Same thing here. I know this is a little hard to see, but this student is doing the opposite of a first position. This is the correct version, but she's standing in pigeon-toed. So it's not A, it's not B, C, it is losing turnout. Okay, I think we're getting better and better at spotting these peeves. Let's go on to our next question and let's take a look. What's wrong in these pictures? We have some hands that are very dramatically placed. We actually call these cookie hands, right? Because they kind of almost look like a cookie, right? A little tense because I see some muscles kind of bulging out and just not the most at ease. We have a dancer in the middle here. I can see her neck muscles bulging out, right? There's a lot of tension here. There's a lot of tension here. And her hands, especially this one here, it's a little tense. It's a little tense. We have a dancer here with her or his toes kind of gripping on the floor. Not the most flat and spread out toes. And we have a dancer in point shoes that is lifting her toes kind of in her box and a little bit very tense looking toes. So clearly we have unnecessary tension in her toes and fingers. I hope you spotted those as well. Moving on to our next question. And our final question is, what's wrong in these pictures? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. We don't discriminate. We take a look. Let's take a look. How about unnecessary tension in the toes? A little bit of toes and fingers tension happening. Maybe over here too. You gotta have a sense of humor, right? B, pelvis misalignment. A little bit of sway back happening with Missy in the first picture here. Losing turnout. You know what? I think she's got a pretty good turnout happening, actually. Losing turnout. Oh, yeah. Losing turnout here. Uh-oh. Not squaring off. Yeah. You get the point. You get the point. We don't need to answer this question. Silly Mimi. Alrighty. I hope everybody had a great time checking out our quiz and some of our pet peeves in ballet today and had a great time. I'll see you guys back in our class.
Welcome back, dancers. I hope you learned a lot during our lecture portion. We're going to go ahead and dive into our dancing portion. Let's begin right away at our chair. We're going to start just by loosening the tension in our fingers and our toes or wherever that you might feel like a little bit constricted, right? We're going to get rid of all those toxic energy that we don't need and all those knots and unhelpful muscle contractions. So we're going to let go of our just fingers. We're going to start off just shaking them out, give them a shake. Shake it off, y'all. Then we're just going to shake it off with your toes at the same time. Just let it go, yeah? Just loosen up that ankle joint, shake it out. Feel free to also add your fingers and arms or wherever that you want to shake it out, right? Make sure that you are kind of away from your apparatus and make sure that you have two apparatuses doing your right side first, doing your left side first, right there, right? So that it's within reach, so we can right away get to this unique combination for a warm-up, okay? You're letting things go. Then we do 2 shoulder rolls, nice and slow, going back. You're standing in a parallel position. Toes are just directly facing me, all right, twice. Then we're gonna reverse that direction as well, okay? Then after we just let go of our tensions in the shoulders and also everywhere else, you're gonna turn to your apparatus and you're gonna stand in a first position in ballet, okay? If I face you, first position is just toes to the side. You're not hyperextending your knees. Your heels are glued together, all right? So after this position, we come down from our releve or rise, heels down, then just step towards your apparatus. You have your hands in front of your support system. Simply, you're gonna come into a first position, and if you just rest your fingertips, bam, that should be where your apparatus is catching your fingertips. Then in this position, again, we're trying to master how to not tilt your pelvis back or forward tucking, right? So your idea is to do 2 demi plies here. Again, knees tracking directly above your toes. right to the knees place here. And when we descend all the way down to a grand plie, right, we're not doing this anterior pelvic tilt or posterior pelvic tilt. Stay neutral pelvis. Imagine that you have two strings coming down, and at the bottom of the string there's like, I don't know, a little bell, right? It's weighted, so it just goes down, right? Let gravity do the work. Your hands are resting on your apparatus, your knees are above your toes, again tracking. Reverse that pattern, coming out of it again. Two demi-plies, one grand plie, second set, 7, and then we're going to turn it back to facing front. 2 plies in front, 3 and 4 a grand. Same idea. Then switching to the left right away, you're going to step to it. 2 plies, 1 grand plie, 7 and 8. Coming back to where you were. Then we're going to again go back to your 6th position or parallel position. A forward stretch forever. Let it go. Drop your hands, rolling up. Again, stretch, forward bend. Stretching are your hamstrings, which are the muscles right behind your thighs, right? Directly opposite. Stretching those out, stretching those out. And then from here, we're just gonna come into a 2nd position. You're gonna go through a 1st position, then you're gonna do a tendu to the side. Tendu means to stretch. And just lower that heel and making sure that your weight is evenly distributed between both feet. Then we're gonna do 4 grand plies just to get those hips going. Again, you're tracking and squaring them off, very, very squared, right? And your pelvis is not tilting back or tucking forward, right? Straight down, like the elevator, right? 4 times, tendu, closing, and finish right there, okay? Just follow along with me. Let's just go for it, dancers. Our warm-up / plie exercise on 1. We go, shaking out your fingers. Just let it go, no tension in ballet, unless it's choreographed into a piece for dramatic and emotional expression. All right, shoulders rolling back, 4, 2. Again, already withdrawing your core muscle towards your navel, towards the spine. Good. We're gonna plie, facing your apparatus. Hand action is at neutral, nothing is happening. We're not rocking the boat at all. We're on plie with easy control. Return. Going through your plie. Repeat. Plie for 2. Chin is lifted, chest is open, heart is open. And a grand plie again. Knees turn on your toes. And let's come back to center. 2 plies, tighten your arm, and front. We open it to this side, nice and slow. A grand plie all the way down. Getting ready to switch your supporting hand to the other side. Dancing with a new partner, if you will. Again, on the left side. A grand plie down. You're going to track over your toes. Again, your hips are not rocking in any direction. Parallel, stretching forward. We have time here. Hold it. Let the neck hang and slowly stacking up your vertebra 1 by 1. Just getting it back up in reverse order. Again, diving all the way down. Hamstring stretch. And let everything go through your nose. And let's coming into a 1st tendu, 2nd position. A grand plie. Just follow your hand. And this is your 2nd grand plie, 2nd. Knees over your toes, hips not moving. Hips are also squared. Not losing your turnout. And not having any tension anywhere. None of this pet peeves exists in this moment. Good. And let's come into 1st position. And just hold in 1st position. See where you are. Maybe slightly lift off your heels slightly to engage your inner thighs a little bit. Fire those inner thighs up. And feel free to also, right, put your hands on your hips and check where you are. Are they squared on, right? Are they skewed, right? Try to make sure that you're not going into any of those peeves. Good. And then let's just finish with a stretch to the side, around. And let's finish stand. Good. Wonderful. Alrighty, dancers, we're going to move on to our second combination, which is going to be a tendu combination. Tendu in ballet just means to stretch. And we're specifically talking about stretching of our toes and legs. Alright, so we're going to begin in first position in ballet. Knees are drawing together, inner thighs drawing together, turning them out. Do not lose your turnout in the middle of a combination, as you guys all know. Standing in a very relaxed first position where the toes are spread out to the floor, no gripping, no grinding happening, right? Arms prepare front, open to the side. A tendu to the front, in which your heel, again, is wrapping around using your maximum turnout and closing back to first. Side tendu, closing back first. Back tendu, making sure that those squared hips are happening in place. Again, remember that young girl, the teacher was pushing her hip forward? That's exactly where you need to be. At the same time, the standing hip is also lifted high towards the waist, then side tendu, closing in. Then we're going to pivot to face your apparatus, all right? We're going to do the same action, but now we're going to have two hands. Or you can even have one hand, you can step away a little bit, having the other hand just place it on your hip so that you can be your own teacher at this moment. You turn it to the front, right? Is my turnout max at max? Is my hip drawn back and now leading forward, right? Closing in. A side tendu, closing in. A back tendu, right? Remember this dancer who did this? That's the wrong version. You want to beat that dancer who did the right version to the back and side tendu, closing in. Then I'm going to go to the other side, but for this exercise, I'm going to not go over there to my left side front, my usual left side front, which is my dresser. I'm going to détourner, or turn around, so that I can have my left side ready, but now my back is going to be facing you, right? So you're going to have your opposite hand this way, right? Front we go. You can leave your arm to the side, or you can place them on your hip. Whatever is the most strategic for you today, right? If you are specifically concentrating on keeping your hips squared, then totally use your hand to be your guide, right? So front tendu, closing in. Side tendu, closing in. Back tendu, I'm making sure that my hip is squared here, right? And my leg is directly behind me. I'm using my maximum turnout, closing in, then side tendu. Closing in, pivot. Now I'm going to go over to the left side, right? You can either have both hands or one. A tendu to the front at my maximum turnout. My hip is not hula hooping. Going to the back with my turnout. Side tendu, closing, and then just finish on the first side. That's all there is to it, and we got two birds with one stone. Doing it to the right, doing it to the left, that's all there is to it. All right, let's go ahead and try with the music. I will demonstrate with my hand on my hip for this one, for my students that might be new to tendus today. A side, lift to the side, and in, and in. Squaring off the hips here, that's correct. One more to the side, using the floor. Sideways, check it out, check it out. This is what we're about. Squaring off the hips, turning out, turning out. One last tendu to the side. Left side, here we go. One. And another. One more. Last time in this facing. Again, for the last time. And let's finish. Progressing into a tendu from third position. Dancers, the third position is simply just like a first position, But your outside foot, away from your apparatus, the outside foot is going to slightly across, bring it across your other foot, slightly, little. Not all the way yet, not in fifth yet, just in third, okay? Our arm prepares front, open it to the side, okay? A tendu front, closing third, a tendu plus a plie. Side, no change, tendu crossing back with a plie. Remember that dancer that had the popo out like this in plie, right? You want to put the pelvis straight underneath you for stability, right? So every single time when you come into a plie, that's where you need to see, where is my fishbowl, where is my hip located, right? So same idea to the back, in and in. Again, with the plie, then side, plie second, let go of your apparatus, then lift to a tendu to the side, and your arm is up to coordinate it with your foot, then closing back. Then reverse, back, in, back with the plie, side, no change to the back, crossing side, crossing over with the plie, front, in, front with the plie, side plie, second position, lift your arm high, matching and coordinating this beautiful line with your side tendu and closing in. Then we're simply going to do a side stretch towards your apparatus, adding a plie and roll forward. Now you're going to reverse that. Same pattern to the side, but you're going to go all the way back without plie. Then the plie, draw your front toes towards your back foot and come and meet it in a susu position, which means over under. And the ideal line is that you see one toe area, then you see two heels coming out from each side, like so, right? Then the idea is that your arm is high above. If I face profile, right, this hand and this arm is not over like this, all right? It's slightly in front of you so you can see your fingertips in your peripheral vision. When you're ready, dancers, the idea is that you want to hold in a balance, in a tight susu, and then coming out of it, just release your foot in the front to meet the back foot and come back in a third position. And that's the whole combo, right? Two tendus, the second one, add a plie, side tendu crossing back. Remember to square off those hips the entire time. Then side plie, tendu, and a close. Back, reverse plie, side, and plie front, and plie side, plie, tendu, cross, side bend, plie, side bend, around to the back. Plie, up, rising susu, and a hold, hold, hold. Coming out of it and finish. Remember when you're trying to balance, right? Your toes are not clenched or anything like that. Your fingertips, don't show me the cookie hands or hats or, salute or anything like that. Relax those fingers, long, right? Elbows soften, it's not like this straight edge looking thing, right? So remember, less tension, less is more, yeah? We go to the front, second side. Second plie, keep the turnout, and square off those hips. Side plie, and open. We go up. Ooh, keep those hips square. Good. Side plie, a front, one plie, and a side plie, side plie. Again. All right. This is the moment. Up, and let go. Hold, open, and plie, and finish. Front, again, plie, and side. Hips underneath, back. A side, plie, and second, pond, reverse it. Susu. High heels up. Turn it out. And Plié finish. We're gonna move on to another combination. This is called the dégagé or to disengage. So you're gonna be getting third position. These dégagés are very similar to a tendu, but now you're gonna add a little bit more energy to propel the leg or the foot off the floor now and unattach from the earth and send them into the air. All right. So we're gonna prepare our arm to the side. Then we're gonna do 4 dégagés closing in. Then 3 to the side. The first one, you cross it to the back, changing, then crossing front, then crossing back, and you hold on 4. Then we're going to go to the back, 2 through 4, and to the side is only 3, and hold on 4. Then we're going to repeat the set one more time, but with our port de bras or with the carriage of our arm. All right, so we're going to do 4 to the front. Whenever you go to the front, your arm is held directly above you, right? I mean, slightly in front, but the idea is that it's up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to open to the side when you go to the side for 3, okay? Then whenever we go to the back, right, I'm going to face on an angle so you can see me better when I demonstrate. Your arm goes through your low 5th position. Then you're going to reach out and extend it in front of you, and you need to look beyond those beautiful fingers of yours for 4, and then 3 to the side again. That was our second set. Then we're just going to go forward bend, back bend, a plie, rise into your susu. We're going to find another balance in susu and see how you do on that side. And then there's others to it. All right. So 4 to the front, dégagés off the floor. 1, 2, 3. First time without our port de bras or our arms. 3. Then add our arm to the front for 4, side, 2, 3. Then back and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3. Forward bend 2, 3, 4, stretch, back 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, susu balance, let go, gloriously, and finish gracefully. First time roll arm, here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and the side, 2, 3. Back and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and squaring off your hips, adding our core rock to the front, and the side, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Stretch in front, rolling through. Going back, do not lose your turnout, dancers. You know that. Plie, up, let go if you can. Hold. Let's immediately go over to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3. Back and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. With our arm to the front and up and a 1, 2, 3. Down and out. Forward stretch. Do not lose your turnout or squaring off of your hips. Let's test our balance here. Plie, up. And let's come back to our first side and finish. Dancers, for today's final exercise at our apparatus today, we're going to be focusing on our rondejons or circling of our legs, and also just the idea of really maintaining your head-on squared hips, right? So begin in first position arm prep from the front, opening to the side. A slow tendu front, carry side, keeping this turnout. Remember that teacher was fixing this dancer's turnout instead of losing it, right? This teacher was really literally giving her hands-on turn out, right? Like opening a dial or unwinding a doll or something, right? Getting the leg to turn to the side. Then the same idea, tracing it to the back and closing in. I'm gonna repeat that rondejump slow version one more time on the floor. 2, 3, and 4. The third time, remember your arms to the side to help you stay in balance. Up front, you're gonna brush it off into dégagé, in plie. Remember this plie knee. It's directly over those toes. Hips are again square, so you don't want to pop that up or down or do anything that's skewed, right? Keeping that very, very square. Then carry it to the side, right? Stick squared hips, not losing your turnout, especially this moment, right? We're not doing that, we're not doing this, right? Square it on. Then from here, you're just gonna straighten your supporting leg. Then you're gonna do a little pivot or promenade to face your apparatus here. Then you're gonna come back and close so that we can reverse the whole thing from the back, a side, a front, a back, round the jump to the side, round the jump to the front. The third time, we're gonna come into a plie. Again, it's bending of your knee on your standing foot. This is turnout, it's not losing. Remember that dancer who's doing this like this? That's the wrong version, right? So you gotta keep this leg turned out, wrapping to the side, then to the side, then to the front. Stay and straighten that supporting foot, point those toes, right? And we're gonna pivot to the side. Maybe say hello to your friends to the side there, and then pivot back. You're all on your supporting leg very, very strongly, okay? That's all there is to it for this combination. Round the jump, let's give it a try. Just start in first position, prepares to the front, opens to the side. Front, carry side. Squaring off those hips and turning it out from the top of the hips, front, aside, back. Now this is the plie and take as you know it, side, back, straighten, pivot to face your apparatus, return, reverse, up back, side, up front, repeat, back, side, and front, adding a plie now, and it's off the floor. Let's go over to the other side, front, side, up, back, repeat. Now with a plie. Straighten, pivot to your apparatus. Reverse that. Square on those hips. Not losing your turnout. Straighten the bottom knee and pivot to the side. Coming back. And let's finish. Bravo dancers for completing another wonderful episode here on Plié For The People. My name is Mimi and it's been my absolute joy sharing our online ballet program with you each and every moment, whether it's the day or the night, wherever you are, whenever you are, you can always tune in to Plié For The People. I hope this channel can be one of your best friends now in life where you can always come back to and just give yourself a workout and just dance and have a great time. Dancing, and especially ballet, is also a great workout. It's not just for aesthetic purposes, but it's actually training your body to get stronger, where your muscles are getting stronger each and every day. Just by standing in first position, all your muscles in your legs and your core are activated, and additional movements can only bring more additional benefits to your practice. I hope you had a wonderful experience today and learned a lot through our lecture portion in addition to our practices. Again, please feel free to subscribe to our channel today and share this wonderful free resource with as many people as you know. We're starting to gain a little bit more of an international following as well, so I'm very pleased to announce that. And I can't wait to continue to make more videos for you all, and I really appreciate everyone's positive support. I've gotten private messages and just wonderful people reaching out to me and thanking me for providing this wonderful program. And right back at you, dancers, because this joy is meant to be shared. And I'm so glad that you were able to, again, discover this channel and find it to be useful. Until the next episode, dancers, I hope you can stay hydrated and keep on practicing your ballets. If you want to write to me directly regarding any comments or inquiries or anything like that, you can reach out to me directly at pliéforthepeople@gmail.com. I'll keep an eye out for your comments. Keep them coming. All right, I look forward to it. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Bye now.